conflicting appointment, so he had told us he would be out. And I believe I have gotten the recorder going, so I think we are following what we voted on last month to record the session. So with a little luck, we have that system working. First item, before we approve the or look at the minutes from last meeting, we'll tell you that you'll note on your agenda that there are two additional items that were added to the agenda that you received previously. These were both requests that came to us today. So I have added those to the agenda, and again, they will come up when we get to that point. But two additional items from the agenda. First item of business, approval of the minutes from the December meeting. Those were provided to you by email earlier. You have a written copy, printed copy in front of you. Ask you to review those and need a motion to approve those, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 9th, 2013 minutes as written.
I have a motion to approve the December 9th, 2013 minutes as written. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. Minutes are as written. Second item is public comment on any item not on the agenda. If we have discussion, public discussion on any of the agenda items can come at that time, but any public comment on any item not on the agenda. No comments forthcoming on public comments. Next item, just want to remind you of the upcoming promotional testing dates. The written testing, we had approved that for the week of January the 27th. The actual dates are the engineer written examination is on the 27th. The fire captain's written examination is on the 28th. The police sergeant's exam, written exam is on the 27th, and the lieutenant's is on the 28th. And I have the times on those if anybody would like those, but that has been distributed to the departments with the location of the testing and the times.
Chairman, could you go over those one more time for me?
The fire engineer is January the 27th. The fire captain is January the 28th. Okay. The police sergeant is January the 27th. And the police lieutenant is January the 28th. So both of them, all of them within a 2-day time period that week.
Thank you.
Of course, the applicants that pass the written testing then proceed. Fire Department Assessment Center is scheduled. We had approved that at a 3-week window between February the 3rd and the 21st. The engineer's assessment is scheduled for January the 29th. The captain's assessment is scheduled for January the 30th. Again, personnel have been given the locations and the times of those assessment centers. The police department, they do their promotability assessments, which they submit to HR. They are due by 2/21. Our oral interviews that we conduct, the fire engineer and the police sergeant are at our normally scheduled February meeting of February the 10th. At our normal time of 6 o'clock. And then the oral interviews for fire department captain and police department lieutenant will be at a special call meeting on February the 24th, 2 weeks later. That is a Monday night also at 6 o'clock. So as a commission, we have 2 dates, our normal meeting date of February the 10th, and then a second meeting date of February the 24th. Then if all goes well, we'll certify the list and have those ready for publication, distribution, publication, so forth by 2/28. So that is the promotional testing schedule, just a reminder on those. Under new business, also a reminder just to commissioners, your statements of financial interest are due to city clerk by the 31st. I believe everybody has been through that except for Commissioner Durham. You did get an email from the city clerk on that? You should have. Okay. We will make sure that we will get that to you. That is a requirement of state law that any appointed commission officials, I guess is the word, has to fill that out by January the 31st and have it submitted by the 31st. You do not need to worry about the notarization. The city clerk will notarize those for you here. So if you will just get those to him by the 31st. Next item, again, we had two requests come into us today. I believe Director James, although I'm not sure I said Director James is out tonight. Two requests here today. The first you have in front of you was submitted. You can read that. This is where a firefighter has requested to take the written part of the engineer test on a different day. I'll give you a couple of points here, and then we can discuss this. Again, we just got this to us today. And you can read, he says he's already had this approved with Chief Payne for January the 24th. I do think, first of all, that's a problem because I think Vernon has a conflict there of being able to do that. But had a vacation planned months before the dates were known. I will take, I guess, exception to that. It's in our rules and regulations, has been for several years, that we test on the 4th week of January. So that should be well known, should have been well known. I believe that's been in effect several years. I'd have to go back and look at the exact date. So I would not agree with that statement, but that's okay. So that is the request. You see it as I have it. I don't have any other details. Probably the other comments I would just make, the Commission has in the past approved changes of testing dates for military commitments. I believe the only other change in my recollection we did approve one on a vacation request from the fire department. At one time, I don't want to put words, I don't remember, it was firefighter McIntyre, and I believe that had a vacation, an anniversary cruise, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, I don't know. And that was the year, if I recall, that we had changed the date from where we specifically stated testing would be on the 4th Saturday of the month to where we changed it to be any time during that week. Irregardless, the Commission did approve that. The only other point I'd make, it was seemed clear to me based on several commissioners' comments that I recall that night, that it was our desire to not ever have to do that again, and that is why we kept this pretty clear. That's one reason I think we probably turned down Chief Payne's request a couple of meetings ago to move this around, just so we know this is the 4th week of the month every year, and people can plan accordingly. So with that said, I'll open this request up for discussion. Have no discussion. Commissioner Peterson.
I don't know if he's talked, I guess he's talked to Vernon based on this note, and he's obviously talked with Chief Payne.
Well, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Talk to Vernon, and again, I don't like to get into who said what or whatever. Vernon told him this has to be approved by the Commission, so there's been no commitment from Vernon whatsoever.
Right.
again, Vernon has, obviously, this has come down to, you realize if we do this, he would have to be tested next week, because the testing date is on Monday the 27th, which is a week from next week. So, and you do have a holiday in next week also. So that puts Vernon under a pretty significant deal to try to change his schedule and do this next week. Vernon's indication to me was that, you know, if the commission approved it, he would make it work. But
well, the only problem that I have is what you had previously stated. It's in the regulations and has been for years that these are testing dates. And if he made the plans months before, I would have thought that he would have given due consideration to the fact that maybe that wouldn't have been a good week to schedule a vacation. So as much as I hate spoiling anybody's vacation, to put the burden on Vernon and us to change a testing date without it being an emergency situation, I have a problem with that.
Commissioner Durham.
You know whether he was eligible for promotion in 13, or did this just come available? Or?
Well, this would probably be his first eligibility. I believe this was hired, in 11, so this would probably be his first availability for testing. Again, you know, we specifically set this date and have tried to keep this kind of sacred to eliminate this from happening. Again, that's why that in my mind I voted against Chief Payne's request, you know, recently to change this date, just because we've got this set so that people can plan around this. Now again, I know we made an exception on a prior situation. I believe, I'm not putting words, I believe it was Secretary Harrington said that night that he would never be able to vote to do that again, because we just had to stop that from happening. So again, I will tell you, I will probably not be able to vote for the approval, but that's just me. Other discussion? All right. Do I have any motion to approve? I think I'm gonna make a motion to approve, even though I plan to vote against the vote. Make a motion to approve so that we actually have a vote on record as such. So the motion is to approve the request from Firefighter Pitchford for a change in testing.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
No.
I believe that's 4 to 1. So the request is not approved. And I guess as a further to that, I just would ask the departments to really communicate. I mean, we know right now when testing is going to be for next year. For 20, we know. I mean, it's going to be the 4th week of January unless we take action otherwise, which I don't see us doing. So I would ask that we make sure we try to stress that. The second request is similar but different. This just came late this afternoon from the police department. I believe Corporal Bagley just found out, my understanding she was just informed by her sergeant this afternoon that she is to be in a training in Russellville on 1/28. Now again, I don't know that that's all factual, but that's what I was told. So she has requested to take the test a day earlier. Couple of points I'd make here, and I've got a button on. It appears this is basically a request more from the department than probably should come from the department than the officer, because apparently they schedule the test or schedule the training. From HR standpoint, he is conducting testing on the 27th, so from a logistical standpoint, it is not a problem for him to do this one a day early. So again, this is a change in testing request. I do think it is different because it is for department training, but Commissioner Peterson. I'm sorry, Secretary.
Oh, okay. I know Bo had his light on. I see this one totally different. I mean, she's been sent by the department for some departmental training. She didn't schedule anything knowingly over the testing date, so I'll have to support this one.
Other discussion? Are you going to make a motion?
Yes. Move that we approve the request by Sergeant Bagley.
Corporal Bagley.
I'm sorry.
Sergeant
Sergeant.
Bagley?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We did. Okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
I'll second that motion.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the request for a change in testing date Sergeant Bagley's request. Any further discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed say no. And probably the only thing there, again, I just ask the departments to be as conscious of that as they can. I realize they can't change training things that are scheduled, but just try to be as conscious of that as they can going forward so that
Mr. Chairman, if I could say something about
Yes.
that. That's a 5-month training class. We didn't set the dates. It's set by the state. And she has to go through 5 months of training to get certified for that. So it's not something that we picked. It was a state
Okay.
class.
all right, so got those two items dealt with. Next item on the agenda, Chief Payne had wanted to bring just some discussion into the division chief testing process, and as you know, that's kind of been a little bit of a long drawn out deal there. So Chief Payne, we'll let you speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The process is, or has a potential to change a little bit as we move forward. Before, when we had a division chief, there was only a singular position, and that had been the fire marshal. And then in the last couple of years, we've looked at adding a division chief who was in training. And now there's a possibility, if I should, let me give you the synopsis of what could happen. If I was chose to if I was picked to be the chief of department, there's a possibility that both of those positions open up at the same time. And with having specific criteria, and to give you an example about that, is the fire marshal is a law enforcement officer also who can enforce the laws and has to go to specialized training, which that person would have to go to a part-time 2 officer school, where the training officer would not need that type of training, but would probably be one we would request to have, like an instructor 2 and some additional educational classes in that realm. What I'm starting the process of research with is contacting other departments and seeing how they do that as far as developing a division chiefs list, and then how they separate those into individual criteria. Because you may have someone who may have been the top person on that list, and the chief thinks they would do a great job. He selects that person to go into that deal, and that person knows all along that he's afraid of guns. It'd be kind of hard to be the fire marshal and go qualify on range. Or if the person goes and can't qualify on range, and all of a sudden we have a problem like that. So basically, I'm just making you aware that I'm in the process of starting to do the research and finding out how other departments in our state, of similar size, make that division between those 2 jobs and other jobs that are classified as division chiefs. So that's just making you aware that I'm starting a research process, and we'll come back with a recommendation to you at a later time.
And I assume we probably won't proceed with anything on division chief till after we have a decision on the chief's position. Would probably be a legitimate assumption.
I would like to have that list in place so that either the new chief, one way or another, can make his selections right off the bat. Because his staff, I assure you, especially with the inclement weather and things we've had just recently, the number of hours that are being logged in by myself and set up Chief Holmes back there have been quite a bit. And realistically, even some of the people who at one time may not have been very supportive of the training officer now going, yeah, it looks like that's a pretty intense, long-term, lots of stuff going on the job. So I would like to have that in place when the new chief comes on board, whoever it is.
All right, so this is basically just for information, and you'll be coming back to
I'll
us.
just let you know that I'm starting to do the research and we'll come back with a proposal.
All right. And I would just, the only comments I'd make, again, there's no proposal at this time or anything. I just you know, we have never tested as a commission, or at least in the 7 years or so I've been involved, we've never tested for a position as such. We've always tested for a rank. In fact, this happens all the time in the police department. Obviously, you've got a lieutenant in the police department, maybe a patrol lieutenant, maybe a detective lieutenant, whatever. So we've never gotten involved in testing for a position as such. And we've never had to deal with it in the fire department up until now, because an engineer is an engineer, a captain is a captain. There's no different positions involved. So it's kind of new territory to us to think about doing that. So we would certainly have to look at that. And then the other thing, just as kind of a comment, and I don't know, how involved you've been in the promotional process, or whether Chief Glenn handled that strictly. I don't know. And realizing that you always work with a rule of three, where at any time we create a eligibility list, you always have 3 names in front of you for promotion.
Yes. And
basically the chief has really full authority to make decisions within those 3 names. I mean, there are no stipulations. If it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical, he can pretty much do interview process, whatever criteria. So that might address some of that, but anyway, we'll look forward to hearing what you come up with.
But again, as a growing city and growing department, I want to look at the other cities and how they handle that for that recommendation when we come back. Because I don't want to plow new ground and find out that the Madam City Attorney is, and all of a sudden has to deal with that.
Right. Okay.
Appreciate that.
She appreciates that. Commissioner Peterson.
I just had one question for Chief Payne, I guess more out of curiosity. You mentioned that the fire marshal position also has to be a certified law enforcement.
The state of Arkansas allows that, and that's where we have filled that position from the city from day one.
Now, do they go to the law enforcement academy for the full stretch, or is it a?
Well, you can, but the state of Arkansas allows a part-time 2 certification, which are taught in numerous institutions around this part of the country. My part-time 2 came from the city of Marlton, and but once it's recognized by standards, then it's good for the entire state. My affiliation is through the chief of police over here in that organization. That's where my arrest powers come from.
How long would they typically be gone for the training to become?
Those part-time 2s are usually done on a night and weekend basis.
Oh, okay.
So they're still able to do their job or compensated time out to go do the training at night.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions for Chief Payne? Thank you. All right. Any discussions from any public comments or discussions on that at this point? All right. Next item is just to open the floor again for comments from commissioners, from Madam City Attorney, Mr. Mayor, public. Any comments at this time? All right. Next scheduled item is a motion to move into executive session. As you know, last meeting we began formulating the interview questions. We will attempt to finalize those tonight. So we will make a motion here in just a moment to go into executive session. Remind anyone that we will come back into public session to adjourn. So you're welcome to stay, but you have our promise there'll be no discussion other than a motion to adjourn at that time. So if we have no other comments, I will make a motion. Excuse me.
Can I speak just
Absolutely.
real quickly? I just
inquired about this. Something that you'd said earlier about Sergeant Bagley's request concerned me a tad because we had been working on the school for some time, and I just got a copy of her request, and she did not, in her written request, tell Mr. James that she just found out today. The memo I think she got either just yesterday or they had been talking about maybe her missing the first day of this narcotics school and weighing options on which one would be easier and to do, and it was decided to ask for this request as opposed to for her to miss the first day of narcotics school because we and she had known about it for some time before it was scheduled.
Okay.
So this wasn't something she just found out today. I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion before we go into executive session for the purpose of finalizing promotional interview questions? Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. And Chris, to stop recording. Mr. Mayor, on open session, we have no other business conduct. Do I have a motion of adjournment at this time?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a
I'll second.
All those in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed say no.